Hey,
Hi,
Mike.
Jesse.
How are you, man?
Good. How about yourself?
Good.
Well, let's talk about Dead Rising. First off, I'll start off with the easy, boring question. Just tell us about the film and your character in it.
Okay. I play Chase Carter, who's an ambitious internet journalist who wants to get a salacious story about zombies. So he drops into this quarantine zone where he hopes to see a zombie outbreak. He hopes to catch a zombie eating someone on camera. But he has no idea what he's in store for when an outbreak does actually occur, and he basically has to scramble to survive. And he aligns himself with this kind of street smart young woman who seems to know how to handle herself with zombies, Crystal. And, the rest of the story is about them escaping the quarantine zone and uncovering a government conspiracy that they believe is behind the outbreak.
Right. Now, I'm curious, this is a much more action-packed role than you've typically done in the past. Was that part of the appeal of the role for you?
Yeah, absolutely part of the appeal. I mean, this role was a very physically demanding one. There's no doubt about that. I've never had the opportunity to do something with this much action, and I've never been given the opportunity to do 95% of my own stunts. So, every day was physically exhausting. I mean, I was literally covered in scrapes and bruises and cuts at the end of every working day. And we have a oneer, in the film, which is one continuous action scene without any cuts or edits. That was about 7 minutes long that we shot some 15, 16 times.
Wow.
So, at the end of every take, I was literally gasping for breath and dumping sweat. So, it was fun. There wasn't a whole lot of acting required because,
right.
when a role is that physically demanding, you just kind of it really pulls you into the moment, and you find yourself reacting very naturally in the moment, and not really a whole lot of thought
right.
goes into it. It's just you get in that mindset, just like the game puts you in that mindset of it's really a life and death fight for survival. And I think that's what we were able to do with the movie. We were able to capture the essence of the game. Absolutely.
Now, were you familiar with the games before you got the role, or were you a fan, or did you go binge play after you got cast?
Completely unfamiliar. I was completely unfamiliar with the games before I auditioned for the role. Once I got the role, I went out. I bought a PlayStation. I bought Dead Rising 1 and Dead Rising 2. And then I played Dead Rising 3 and Dead Rising Off the Record with one of our producers, Tomas Harlan. He sort of walked me through those games. I logged in quite a bit of gameplay. I definitely wanted to familiarize myself with the different protagonists from the games, and also with just the world really, and the tone of the games. And it really did inform my performance. And I feel like my character Chase Carter, he's sort of an amalgam of all three characters, but I think most closely models himself after Frank West.
Sure. I like that you mentioned also the tone of the games. I enjoyed the film very much. One of the things I liked about it was the tone of the film, because it is a good zombie horror action flick, and it's not like a comedy per se, but it also doesn't take itself too seriously. You know what I mean? Was it challenging to kind of keep that balance of, the sort of the mix of the horror, the action, the comedy, the drama?
Well, I think our director said it best, Zach Lipovsky. He said he was making a zombie version of Indiana Jones.
Nice.
And that's really, what the tone of our film was like. It's that classic blockbuster tone from, the late 80s and early 90s that
right.
I don't know, people don't really make films like that anymore. And I think that's probably why Guardians of the Galaxy was such a hit, because they finally brought back that tone where it's just like, where the lead protagonist is like, he doesn't take himself too seriously, and there's moments of drama and there's moments, but there's a lot of moments of comedy as well, and a lot of levity that kind of keeps you going, and keeps the film fun,
right?
And it doesn't get too heavy. And Zach was really the guy that made sure that was maintained, that tone throughout the film. So I have to give credit where credit is due. He really did a great job. And his understanding of the games, his understanding of action sequences and effects, and his understanding of acting, or all really came into play in the job he did on this film. So I thought he worked well on every level and helped make the film
Absolutely.
what it was.
Right. Now, you had a great, co-starring cast. You worked closely with, Megan Ory and Virginia Madsen and Keegan Connor Tracy. And I mean this in jest, but was it weird being the ugliest member of the cast for a change?
You know what? It was a really cool cast, man. Obviously Megan and Keegan are both very beautiful, but they really did pull together a very credible and interesting cast. Some of those choices weren't exactly completely on the nose, but worked brilliantly.
Right.
Everybody had a great job. Everybody had a great time on this film, and I think it shows on screen. Everyone was very, very passionate about bringing these games to life, in a live action film format, and
right.
Doing the games justice, and I
Absolutely.
think a lot of the game adaptations in the past, have ultimately hurt these franchises, these video game franchises, and I think a lot of the franchises are very reluctant to, let Hollywood, to tell their stories, and it took a production team like Contradiction with Tomas Harlan and Tim Carter to work hand in hand with Capcom, to write a script and create a film that, really captures the essence of the games.
Absolutely.
And that the fans can be proud of.
Yes, I think they'll enjoy it. Absolutely. Now, you've been focusing a lot on TV work in the past few years. Was it fun getting back onto the the motion picture side of things, or was it challenging with the scheduling and all that stuff different? What was that like, making that transition back into feature film?
I love the feature film format. I love doing films. That's kind of where my heart lies. And it's an easy transition. Certainly, when you're shooting lower budget films, the schedules can be very demanding and they're very compressed. But this film really was a labor of love, I think, for everyone involved. And so it didn't really feel like work.
Right. Very cool. And you mentioned the stunts, which I thought were impressive, and the action scene, the non-cut action scene, which was fantastic. One of the things I noticed also is you got covered in blood, like, regularly and consistently in this movie. You were getting splashed and splattered with blood. Does that ever get tiring during filming? Was there ever a day where you were just like, enough with the blood?
You know what? I love it, honestly. I love the blood. I love
Yeah.
I love anything that's gonna pull me more into the moment and make me feel like what's going on around me is real.
Right.
So I don't mind. But if I
Right.
had to pick one day where I might have been at my limit with the blood, was probably the day when Bonzo the Clown was on top of me and screaming
Yep.
over my face, and the blood from his mouth was landing on my face, and some of it even got in my mouth.
Yeah, I noticed that, and I was like, that was kind of the scene.
That had hair and makeup back at the monitors, dry heaving. They were literally gagging for me. So yeah, that was pretty intense.
I can imagine. All right. Well, I know we're wrapping up on time there. So what else do you have coming out that fans can look forward to?
Well, I just signed on for the sequel to Dead Rising.
Excellent.
So shooting back in Vancouver again in
Cool.
January. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, Jesse, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I really enjoyed the movie, and I enjoyed you in it. So thank you very much.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it.